Hi, Kylie. Hope you're having a good day. I got your open note quiz back today, and I wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on it before you take the test so you're prepared for it. And I apologize, my voice is a little bit hoarse right now. So, in number one, it says angle 4 is supplementary to angle 1, and angle 3 is supplementary to angle 2, and angle 4 and 3 are congruent. So, if I'm looking here, these two angles here are congruent, then I can assume or I can conclude that angle 1 and 2 over here are congruent as well. And my reason, I need to tweak yours a little bit, it should say if two angles are supplementary to congruent angles, then they are congruent because 1 and 2 are both supplementary to 3 and 4, which happen to be congruent from the given. Okay. On number 2, looking at this one, it says you start off knowing that angle ABD and angle CBE are both right angles. And you have here angle ABD is congruent to angle CBD because if two angles are straight angles, they are congruent. That's correct. But the way you get angle ABE congruent to angle CBD is you're going to subtract this section here off of both right angles. So this is going to be either just putting subtraction property or stating if an angle not added but is subtracted from two congruent angles, and then the differences are congruent. So instead of the sum, you're looking at the differences. Because again, think of it this way. If I have this right angle here, and I subtract off this chunk, I'm left with this piece over here. Same thing can be said if I have angle CBE here in pink, and I subtract this chunk here, I'm left with the smaller angle CBD. That's, again, why we're talking about subtraction. Okay, on this one, it says segment FG is congruent to segment JH. So the question is then, why is segment FH congruent to segment GJ? It is the addition property, but so I accepted it because it was addition. If you're going to write it as a sentence, I would say if a segment is added to congruent segments and the sums are congruent, because what we're doing is adding this section GH to both. Okay, if we look at number 4, it says that angle MOP is congruent to angle RPO, those angles in the corner, and that angle 4 is congruent to angle 5. Then it's not addition, but what we're going to do, if we have the bigger angles, we're going to subtract off these pieces here to get these smaller ones congruent. So instead of addition, it's going to be subtraction. You could say if congruent angles are subtracted from congruent angles, then the differences are congruent. So if you're struggling with is it addition versus subtraction, something to keep in mind is, did you start off with bigger pieces congruent and end up with smaller pieces congruent? Then that's going to be subtraction because you went from bigger to smaller. If you started off with smaller pieces congruent and you want to prove that the bigger ones are congruent, then you're going to be using addition because it's getting bigger. Okay, so hopefully that explanation helps a little bit. If not, let me know and I'll try to explain it a different way. Okay, on 5 through 7, you had to come up with a conclusion and a reason. So if we look at number 5, it says segment GT bisects segment AR. So here's segment AR that gets split. So what that tells us is that AE is going to be congruent to ER. And I wouldn't probably say, it's kind of similar to this, but a little different. I would say if a segment, because what is this? If a segment bisects a segment. So if a segment bisects a segment, then it divides the segment into two congruent segments. So again, think about what words are used in the given. Might help you a little bit with the reasons for your conclusions. Okay, on number 6, I kind of want to tweak this. I want to try to trick it this way maybe. if you end up with three, or if you know that you have three congruent angles, then what most likely happened is that the big angle got trisected. And I think you were trying to come up with that statement here because you've got part of it correct. We just need to tweak it. So what we would say then is ray PR and ray PM trisect the big angle, angle YPD. And if I say something like this, let's go with if an angle is divided into three congruent angles, then the angle, I would put maybe something like was trisected. Okay, so we just needed to tweak that one a little bit here. Okay, on number 7, we are given that segment OB is congruent to segment BL. Okay, so you could have said that ray GB bisects, I wouldn't say an angle, I would say bisects segment OL, because if a ray divides a segment into two congruent segments, then the ray bisects the segment. So again, I want to focus on segments here because the given told me I had segments congruent. If I would have had angles congruent from the given, then I would go with the fact that an angle was bisected. Okay, and then number 8 and number 9 were correct, so good job. So hopefully that explanation helps you a little bit. Going into your test, I sent, besides your test, I also sent a page. Sorry about the noise if you can hear that. Well, it sounds like they're doing some work in the hallway here. But you're gonna have an option of choices to pick from on your test. Hopefully that helps you with your proofs. And your test is gonna be very similar to your review packet. So if you can do those questions, you will be just fine on your test. So again, hope you're having a great day. Again, if you ever need any help or you have questions, please reach out to me and we will find some way to get you some help. Okay? Have a great one. Bye.